I ended up wanting to watch Cowboy Bebop with David because I had never seen it before, but I wanted to watch it together because the live action version was about to come out. So you can already tell how long ago this was. And I thought, you know what? I think David would like the live action version or prefer it over the anime version, but I want to throw that idea out there just to be like, just in case the live action version kind of, oh no, just in case the live action version crashes and burns, we at least too soon.
How it did.
Yeah.
How it did indeed.
So David, because it was your first time watching like Cowboy Bebop also, but because you kind of came at it from a perspective of someone who hadn't seen a whole lot of anime, overall thoughts, what do you like now that we're a little bit farther removed from finishing the show, which was like a couple months ago? How has it stuck with you?
Yeah, it was a really cool experience. I mean, first of all, dude, the soundtrack.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I'm gonna look up that composer's name because I don't want to get it wrong.
Yeah, hands down. I mean, yeah. Between Dragon Ball, My Hero, and Cowboy Bebop, Bebop reigns supreme in the music department. Most definitely.
Oh, in the music department. Okay. Okay, I was gonna say.
I don't know how I would rank the shows themselves because they're all pretty much different.
Yeah.
Like I remember binging Dragon Ball Z like 6-7 episodes a day when I was watching it.
Yeah, that's the curse of someone who just gets into anime. And everyone who is like a couple of shows in will look back on those early heydays and they'll be like, remember when I watched an entire season of a show in a day and now I can barely finish like 2? Yeah,
like and My Hero was doing like 3-4 maybe a day.
Yeah.
And then Bebop we only did like 2 every time.
Yeah, because it also didn't help that we were trying to like watch that together. I guess that's the wrong outlook to have. But we got through it very slowly, which I also kind of think impacted the overall experience by the end of it. Because it wasn't something like you could feasibly burn through Cowboy Bebop in less than a week if you wanted to. The 24 episodes, I think.
That's another really appealing part was that it wasn't 160 episodes.
Yeah, there's no Cowboy Bebop Shippuden.
Yeah,
there's no follow-up show.
You got this 24 episode. What is that? Maybe like 8 hours.
Yeah,
about 8 hours.
It's really nothing.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. So Yoko Kanno is the composer, and that's one of the openings to all anime for the rest of time. It's so hard to skip Tank by the Seatbelts.
Yeah, the only anime opening I've ever heard that I actually wanted to listen to every time.
Yeah, and the ending isn't bad either. I really like the ending too.
Oh yeah, ending kind of slayed.
Yeah, and it sounds really good on like a 5-to-1 because we got to watch it in my dinky little surround sound system where I have a sound bar and then like a subwoofer and 2 little blah blah blah. But like getting to hear songs that were mixed for that format instead of, I feel like music mixed for anime now is probably done a little bit differently because like I'll watch a show on like Funimation or something. And the opening doesn't sound nearly as good on like in the context of the show as it does like in the car when I'm just like driving around and listening to the recorded version. I don't know why that is, but the Cowboy Bebop music, whoo boy, I never had any issues listening to it here in my room. Yeah, it definitely impacts the tone of the show and it kind of complements the tone of the show really well. Very, it's a space cowboy show.
Yeah, like just the tone of the show too is another. It was so different from the other ones, just because they were very episodic. There weren't really any like, you could easily watch any episode, and you don't have to, be compelled to watch anything else just because they were pretty much contained stories.
Yeah, and I like that. It still manages to introduce character moments and arcs that get brought up later in the show too, like Faye's story. I think Faye ended up being both of our favorite character because we asked each other by the end of the show, like who our favorites were. And it's not just because I maybe find her super attractive and am starting to question, whether or not like 3D girls versus 2D. I'm not even gonna say it. I'm not even gonna go that far.
You stop right now.
Yeah, if I hadn't have messed up, if I hadn't have fumbled my words, it would have come out. Saved me, it called me from off the ledge. But
I wanted to talk about characters, but Faye. Yeah, we agreed that she's best character.
She's best character.
Just the best. Like, as far as favorite episode goes, besides the one where they're all high as hell.
Yeah, the Ed and Ein episode where they find the mushrooms. I have not laughed that hard at a single episode of anime in so long.
Dude, just what was the part where they talked like Ein barks at the cow and it says like thank you?
Yeah, and the cow's like, yeah, no problem, and it moves, and there are subtitles for what the cow is saying, and it's just like you watch that episode and you feel like you also took a couple of mushrooms. Like, it makes you feel a little bit high.
Besides that obvious best episode ever, and also well, to be fair, Ein is the best character on the show.
Yeah, Ein, not even counting Ein, because if Ein isn't your favorite Cowboy Bebop character, you're gonna have to reevaluate your stance on a lot of things.
Obviously. As far as human character, Faye, and the episode when she like finds the tape and she's like watching it, as like her as a kid, like that was good.
Yeah.
That was, I think, my favorite episode.
Yeah, I think the way that it tells stories, and not just in anime scope, but also like traditional story.
Oh, you okay?
Yeah, this is just a coffee burp. But yeah, it's able to tell stories in using so many different resources. Like the direction of the show is I don't know. I'm not as well versed in the language and the lingo of film or TV, but even so far as the music goes, there are some times where the show will just let the music play and there's no dialogue and you see images and stuff like that, but the music is what tells. Like the episode where Spike met the it was like a two-parter. It was like Venus Jazz or something, and it was the one where we met those two military, like we met the one military guy that knew Vicious in war, and then came back and was dying of this disease and wanted Spike. They got into an altercation with Vicious a little bit, and he was about to die, and I forget what his name is, but he's like, hey man, send me out into space. I'm gonna die out there. And Spike's like, come on man, like we can save you. And he's like, nope, no, I would rather die on my way somewhere. Like, I would rather be on my way to something, like some goal, than like die trying to keep my stay alive. So there's a moment where like he gets shot out into space, and for like 2 minutes it's just music, and the show makes you sit in that feeling for what feels like forever, but it's a really beautiful moment. And like there are moments in the show like that all over the place where you're just stuck with like an image or like a sound or a song, and then you get to the end of the show and Spike gets killed, and
spoilers, by the way, for Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah, if you haven't seen Cowboy Bebop before, like already, just assume that there are going to be spoilers for everything, including the music that we talk about. So if you don't like spoilers for music, but yeah, and then the last thing that we see in the show is the words "See you, Space Cowboy," and then that's, or no, not "See you, Space Cowboy."
You're going to carry that weight.
You're going to carry that weight. Yeah. See, the guy who doesn't watch anime is already Yeah, I'm proud of you, man. I'm proud that and I'm happy that this show stuck with you because I didn't know what to expect. I'd only known that people really like this show.
Yeah, that was a big thing too. Like when Vicious first got introduced, I swear I thought every episode was just gonna be them versus this guy.
Yeah.
But no, he only shows up a couple times.
Yeah, the Spike's overarching story like begins and like ends the show, and we see Vicious a couple of times during like a couple of two-parters and like important moments for Spike. But a lot happens in between those encounters so that every time you do see Vicious again, it is that much more impactful because we know like what has happened to Spike and the Bebop and the gang and everything. And by the end of it, yeah, it's sad seeing Faye and Jet like talk to Spike for the last time because they all know that Spike probably isn't going to make it back alive. And Faye tries to stop him and Jet's like, yeah, screw that guy. And then Spike comes back and, you know, they have a good like heart to heart and it's really impactful. And it's like, usually in anime, like when a character dies, they're not really dead. You know, there's like a senzu bean or there's like Dragon Balls that you can use to revive someone or like, what's the thing in Naruto?
Yeah, whatever. Not important.
Whatever jutsu. Yeah, the Rene Rebirth, that's what it is. But yeah, this show has a finality to it, and I think the images from that last episode and like the feelings that are associated with the whole show that are like encapsulated in those last moments, it sticks with you. And the show says it best. You're going to carry that weight. You're going to carry the weight of the show and watching all these characters develop together and then finally seeing everything kind of fall apart. Yeah, and you can never experience again that moment for the first time ever again. So I would say it's probably a near perfect show, let alone anime, but that's just me.
Yeah, I actually when we finished, I looked up a couple people like ranking the episodes. And even the episodes these people were putting like in last place, they were still saying like these are still like really good episodes.
Yeah.
Like there weren't any bad episodes.
I don't think so. I think there were definitely like weird episodes, but like if I wasn't laughing the whole time, I was deeply invested in what was going on. Because like each character that they introduce for each new episode is either written in a really compelling way or they affect one of the members of the crew in a really compelling way. Like
who was the dude on the horse?
Oh, he was an actual cowboy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And every time he shows up, like there's like a whistle, or like the elevator opens and he's on the horse.
Yeah. And him and Spike are pissed at each other when they're really like very similar.
Yeah.
Oh my god! And like every time the whistle happens, I just imagine people in the show being like, "Where the fuck is that coming from?" It's such a good show, and I'm glad that we got to go through that together, and now we get to talk about it on the podcast.
Yeah, man, and just the other good characters. Like Ed was funny because we're still not sure what gender they are.
I think Ed is a girl because I think Ed's dad calls Ed his daughter at the end of the show.
But then he's like, "Or are you my son?" I don't know.
Yeah. So at any point, like, it doesn't really matter.
But I just think it's funny just because, you're just like, "What are you?"
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
But everyone on the Bebop is like, "Oh, it's Ed," and it's like it doesn't. So I love that like even the characters in the show are like, I mean, that doesn't have anything to do. Yeah, it's Ed was really fun to watch because you never knew what Ed was gonna do. And like being paired up with Ein was always really funny because like they're like the wild cards, it's like anytime you see them in a scene, it's like, okay, well, this is either going to be really funny or they're just going to be in the background doing whatever.
And then you have like Jet,
yeah,
which was just all around solid.
Yeah,
solid character.
Everyone in the show, but particularly in the crew, they're all tragic characters. Tragic thing happened to them in one way or another, and Jet I feel like is the most realistic depiction of someone in like real life, because all of them are written very well, but Jet feels the most down to earth. Like he's the one that kind of holds everyone together, and he admits that later in the show, like when he's by himself on the ship. But yeah, they all have really good stories. So it was hard to pick a favorite character, but it ended up going to Faye Bay.
Yeah. Anyway, we got to move on.
Yeah, I honestly could talk about Bebop all night if I could, but
definitely watch it. You better have, because everything's been spoiled already.